Welcome to Living Life by Design with Latia, where we discuss lifestyle, design, luxury, and inspiration. In today's show, we'll be talking with esteemed author and career break and sabbatical expert, Katrina McGhee, as we discuss how career breaks and sabbaticals facilitates a more fulfilling, luxurious lifestyle by design. Welcome to the show, Katrina.
Thank you so much for having me, Latia.
My pleasure. My pleasure. First off, congratulations on your recent Forbes recommendation. That has to be super, super exciting for you. Could you tell us a little more about your recent achievement?
Yes, I absolutely can. So I have just released a book out into the world. It is called Taking a Career Break for Dummies, and it's part of the For Dummies series with Wiley. And it has been an epic journey. It took me 1 year to go through the full cycle. And my book just came out 3 weeks ago. And yeah, and to have it mentioned in Forbes. So Forbes does a weekly careers newsletter, and last week's career newsletter focused on my book. My book was one of 2 recommended resources for people to go check out. And it was a surprise to see that, but it was really meaningful and very affirming in the way that I am trying to help people rethink how they are designing their life and how they are navigating their career journeys. And so it just felt like this huge affirmation that all of the work and all of the dedication and love that I've poured into this book is really making an impact and causing a stir. And just, I want to get it out into the world so that more people can get their hands on it and learn how to design breaks that make life more joyful, more luxurious, and more sustainable.
That is so amazing. And again, congratulations. So, could you explain what a career break and sabbatical coach is and how you help your clients live a more fulfilling life?
Absolutely. So this book is born, the original seed was planted with my own 20-month career break, where I saved $40,000 because I didn't really have any savings at the time I decided to do this, to travel around the world. And I did that for 20 months and it was life-changing. And so through that process, I learned a lot, but that wasn't enough. So I became a certified life coach. After I returned and paid off all my debt, I decided to leap into entrepreneurship. So I got a certification. Yeah, I know, right? I got a certification and I started life coaching. And the perfect thing to coach people on was how to take a break and how to design it thoughtfully so that it meets your needs and creates a successful outcome, so that the version of you that emerges from the break is a completely different version than the one that started. Even if lots of things look the same from the outside, that sense of empowerment and, as you know, just the ability to really thoughtfully curate our life to fit what we want, it creates a new reality for us. And I think we move through the world differently when we're on that journey and taking those steps and that action. And so as a career break and sabbatical coach, I infuse a lot of mindset work and a lot of life coaching tools to help people overcome their own limiting beliefs, their own perceived obstacles, their fears around money, their fears around perception, their fears around getting a job. And I marry that with the practical stuff about, how do I design this break? Do I need to create a purpose statement? Like, what does the blueprint or the structure of my break need to be so I'm not wasting this time? And how do I prepare for and re-enter so that I can find jobs when I come back, or, re-enter the workforce smoothly and not have this like really bumpy re-entry? And so that's the work that I do. And through that process, people have a really fulfilling experience. I didn't say easy, so I just want to caveat, right? There's a lot of learning and growth and sometimes discomfort, but it's absolutely worth it. And they emerge an even brighter, bolder, and better version of themselves.
I love that. So, when I think of sabbaticals, of course, I think of, just being in a place where you're really unhappy and you just want a very long break. You're going to leave work, whatever it is, for months, maybe a year, maybe 5 years, come back and decide if you want to do it or not. But it's much more to it than that. Would you say that, it's a process, and maybe career breaks are also a learning experience and a way to enhance your overall well-being? What does a sabbatical really look like?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Absolutely. There's so much that goes into it if you want to do it well and you want to be at the end of your break looking back and go, that was life-changing, right? That was the catalyst for a new me to emerge. And so within that, right, when it comes to addressing holistically your well-being, right, we're talking mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, it's really important that you get in touch with what you need from this experience. You have to predefine what success means to you so that you can design, right, with the end in mind. You can create a break that is geared towards helping you fulfill your needs. So I love to create a break blueprint with my clients, and we start at the foundation with a purpose statement. Why am I taking this break? Knowing, right, what is this really for and what am I hoping to get out of it? And being thoughtful about the 4 pillars that you're going to place around your break. So typical career breaks are anywhere between 3 to 12 months. I have some clients that have done 2 years and some clients that have done 6 weeks to 2 months. So you definitely can, make it short, make it long, whatever you need it to be, whatever you can afford. But the average is between 3 to 12. And so within that, if you're going to do a break that's 3 months or longer, I recommend having 4 pillars and knowing what are the 4 essential ingredients of a successful break for me. So it might be restoration, it might be healing, it might be connection, it might be community, it might be learning, it might be adventure, it might be exploration, but really getting in touch with what's going to hold this thing together. What is sort of the key and most vital ingredients of what I need to experience and focus on and invest in this time off and this time away from work. And so through that work, we're really addressing sort of holistic well-being for my clients and creating and designing an experience that feels very aligned and very fulfilling and, dare I say, luxurious in the way that you have all of this time and you're filling it with things that you need and that bring you joy.
Love it. And, I imagine that it takes a great deal of confidence, of course, to even consider a career break or sabbatical, especially, when you think of everyday life, kids, you got families to feed, and the average person is time poor, as they say, right? Would you say that sabbaticals are achievable for anyone in any career field, any economic status?
Yeah. So, obviously there's the caveat that you have to be able to have enough money to feed yourself and have, a place to stay. I do understand that not everyone can take one, but the reason I wrote this book is because I think everyone deserves one. I think everyone needs one, and I think everyone should be able to take one. That is currently not the situation that we're in, but it is absolutely doable for the majority of us if we're willing to be creative and resourceful, right? So my break was 20 months around the world. I spent almost $40K to do that. You don't have to take 20 months off. You can take 6 weeks. You can take 2 months, whatever you can afford. You can stay at home, right? That you might not need to travel for your break. Or you might be someone that is really adventurous and is willing to travel slowly abroad and live in places where the cost of living is actually lower than the life that you have been maintaining at home. I do have clients that have children. I have clients that have mortgages. I have clients that have debt, right? You can create with thoughtful creativity and resourcefulness. You can create options for yourself. And it's really about deciding at this stage, what is it that I most need out of this break? And how can I use what I have or work towards a savings goal to make it happen? I personally didn't have access to that money when I wanted to take a break. It took almost 2 years of planning and then saving to make it happen, but it was absolutely achievable. And so I wrote this book to break down for people, right? I talk about how to save money faster, how to mentally prepare yourself to afford a break and invest in your well-being and give yourself permission to spend that money. Because at the end of the day, this one life is all you have. And I just want you to live it to the fullest. I want you to feel like you have really gone for the things that you want, that you have lived a life pursuing green flags instead of avoiding red flags, and that you get to the end point being really proud of how you showed up for this one precious life. And so with that, I encourage people to put together a plan, figure out what you need, and then work within those constraints to figure out how you're going to achieve that goal. But I believe it is absolutely possible for the majority of us if we're willing to be creative, and we're also willing to understand it might not be a worldwide, 1-year worldwide tour, but there are absolutely beautiful ways to have an experience that is restorative and inspiring.
I love it. Like you just gave a whole motivational speech. So you can tell that you are just meant to do this. I absolutely love that. Pushing people to get creative to enhance their well-being. Would you say that sabbaticals are also suitable for entrepreneurs as well?
Ooh, I like this question. That's a good question, Latia. Yes, but it looks different. So if you are an entrepreneur in the sense that you are the one, right? The one in charge, the one running the show, and maybe potentially the one showing up to provide a lot of the service, it's really hard to completely extricate yourself from that reality, but it's not impossible. So I have a couple of clients who were entrepreneurs, but it involved them having a team, right? Like pulling on one or two more people to take on roles and having a ramping up period where there was work being delegated, people being trained, SOPs or standard operating procedures being developed so that it could run without them. And that break looked different. There was a 2 to 3 month disconnect where they were like only available for emergencies. But then the next 3 to 4 months, they were checking in weekly just for anything, any fires that needed to be put out, any questions. So it was a break, but it looked different than maybe somebody that's in corporate that can completely just break free and then come back to the job market when they're ready. But it's absolutely possible. And again, you don't have to take 12 months off. In fact, if you're an entrepreneur, you probably love what you do and you find it really stimulating, and you probably don't want to take an extended break, but you can still take 6 weeks off. You can still make a big plan and do something really exciting or really restorative that you wouldn't have the time to do on a weekend, right?
Yeah, sometimes I just want a week.
Yeah, even a week. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And just you have to be proactive, right? You have to put that on the calendar and claim it in advance because you will always fill that time if it's not on there.
Love it. And I personally advocate for anyone who wants to reclaim their time and take charge of their own happiness and means of success. What tips would you share to someone who may be watching this interview and they're considering taking a career break or sabbatical?
Yeah. Number one is get clear on what your wildest dream is for what you're going to get out of it. Is it a deep sense of rest? Is it a joy immersion where you rediscover what brings you joy in life and you're somebody that just has a lot of fun moving through time and space? Is it just the idea that you actually have a good life, but you don't have the time to enjoy it? And so you want the luxury of being able to just be present and enjoy and celebrate the life that you've worked so, so hard to create, right? So once you understand what it is that you most desire, what success would mean to you and what it is you're craving, you can then figure out, okay, I can't maybe if you're not in a place tomorrow to take a 12-month break, you can figure out how long could I give myself, right? At this stage of the game, look at your numbers, know how much money you have access to, or how much money you're saving or not saving each month, and how long it could take you to get to that number. But I think it's really helpful to have a specific target in mind. So my target was $38,000. That's how much I thought it was going to cost. Obviously, I overestimated and got to travel longer, but having a goal gave me so much clarity. And then that purpose, knowing why you're going to do it and what you want to get out of it, is very important as well. And then get creative, right? If you're like, oh my gosh, I am just so burnt out, like I want that week, but I want a week that is full on disconnected. How much would that cost you? If you're going to, like if you would lose income or have to do something, like, can you afford that, right? Can you plan for that in advance? And can you be super clear on what you want to get out of it so you don't show up and accidentally do all the laundry, run all the errands, go to the post office, wash your car, do all the things that like your brain tells you, be productive, do this thing. No. Go back to the purpose and focus on that. And I think knowing that is really important information that will help you feel motivated and also design, even if it's a mini break, a break that is going to give you what you need.
I love it. I love it. You seem to be fulfilling your purpose. I just love your passion and your drive for what you do. But tell me, how are you living your life by design?
Oh, I love this question. So I personally, I wrote a book and it was really hard. I had to
Yes,
be so,
girl.
I know it was so hard. It was like 500 hours, 100,000 words. Oh my gosh. I have 24 clients that agreed and gave me permission to share their stories. It was like going through old emails and like really trying to like remember the details of their stories. And so for me, this last year, I've been so intentional about designing my life for the impact I want to have on the world, right? And on other people, and really being conscious of what that end goal is, so that the struggle was worth it, so that the hard moments didn't consume me in a way where I just gave up. It also means, right, being really thoughtful about my time. And I love to travel. I'm a nomad. And so life by design for me is leaving space and planning around pockets of time where I'm flying from Atlanta to Denver to spend a week with friends and to reconnect with people I care about and maybe haven't even met before, but like I know them virtually. And I'm just like, hey, let's meet in person. Let's make time for this. And so I value connection a lot. I love travel. I love new experiences. And so being a nomad, making time for friends, and being really thoughtful about how I'm showing up to create impact is how I'm currently living my life by design.
I love that. The key word that she used is intentional. And that's so important when you're living your life by design. I love it. So before we get up out of here, could you share where we could find you on social media and the web?
Yeah, I show up a lot on LinkedIn and I share some great info there. And so you can find me, Katrina McGhee on LinkedIn. And obviously there is my website, which is kmcgeecoaching.com. But go get my book. If you're interested and you want to know how to do this thing, if you're considering it, I have journaling prompts for you to get clear on whether or not you could, and ways to work out your numbers to figure out if you should. Check out the book if you're interested. I'm here to make a difference, and I'm just excited to have this chance. And I'm so grateful that you invited me on to talk about this. I love what you're doing, and I think it's really important for us to be intentional, as you said, about the life we want, because no one's going to walk up one day and give it to us because we worked really hard. Like, we have to be proactive and find the time and space to create it for ourselves.
That's right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Katrina. And we hope to have you back in the future.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Hey, lovelies. It's me. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my content for all things lifestyle, luxury,